Hello everybody, and thanks for checking out my review. This watch was sent to me for the purposes of this review by Topper Jewelers. I've personally been buying watches from Topper for years, formed a great relationship with them, and I appreciate them sending me these watches for review. Topper Jewelers are authorized dealers of numerous brands including Casio, Seiko, Grand Seiko, Omega, and many others. They sell brand new, pre-owned, and they open up pre-orders for brand new or rare releases on their website. So go to topperjewelers.com, enter in the discount code DougFNJ15 for 15% off on this watch that I'm reviewing, plus an extra bonus for a limited time while supplies last, or call 888-730-2221. I'll also add those details below in the video in the description. Thank you very much, Topper Jewelers, for supporting my channel, and now on to the review. Hello everybody, and thanks for checking out my review. Today I'm going to be going over the Casio G-Shock. This is the MRG B1000B-1ADR. The module number on this watch is 5526. So if you wanted to look up the module, you just simply do a Google search for Casio 5526. You can find the instruction manual for this real easy. Just giving you a quick physical walkthrough. This is a titanium watch. It features a sapphire glass with non-reflective coating, and covering the titanium is a deep layer hardening along with the DLC coating. So it's very, very scratch resistant, unlike most titanium watches, which can scratch if you look at them wrong. You could see that if you wanted to size it, you have the pin and collar system that goes on the inside of the links. And on the clasp, you're going to notice it's got the Mr. G logo here. And you open it up, it's got the, folds over the three layer there. And it's got the locking clasp here as well. So this way it can't come loose accidentally. So when you close it on your wrist, you just lock that clasp and you can't push the buttons, you can't open it up. That's one of the features. It's a signature feature of the Mr. G. This particular watch features a screw down crown, so what that does is it helps keep it at 200 meter water resistance. It's nice and buttery smooth threading, so it's easy to disengage it and just as easy to re-engage it. You got a button on the left side, you got two buttons on the right side. One of them has a rose gold accent, which looks really sharp, and then there's also a rose gold inner ring. Watch is very functional. You have the 4 screws that they typically put on the Mr. Gs. This actually reminds me of a little slightly larger and a slightly thicker Mr. G 8100 series, which is also one of my favorite versions. This is a really nice update to that version of the watch, though. You have Bluetooth, so you're able to control this with your smartphone as well. A couple of other features that you're looking at on this is you have a Neo Bright coating, which is, it gives you good luminescence. On top of that, it's also got an LED light in there too, so it lights up nice and thick. Total weight is 131 grams. Let me see here, and just looking up some other features, you have the tough movement, which means that you can bang this up pretty well, and the movement is not going to get affected as far as the motor or any of the innards inside. It's got tough solar, so this way it's solar charging, makes it nice and maintenance free. You also have multi-band 6, so you can get radio control from 6 bands around the world. If you can't get the radio control from those 6 bands, then of course you can hook up with your smartwatch and sync that way. So it's a really nice watch in that area. Alright, and getting around the actual dial of the watch, at the 12 o'clock subdial you have a 24-hour display. At the 4 o'clock you have the day of the month. The 6 o'clock you have another subdial that gives you dual time, and it offers you AM PM display on the side of that subdial. At the 9 o'clock subdial is about the modes and the status. So if you take a look there on the top left, it shows you the day of the week. The bottom left of that dial shows the battery charge level indicator. On the right side, it shows you the modes, which is a 24-hour stopwatch, 24-hour countdown timer. You have the alarm. You have daylight savings time settings, and if you go around the dial, you'll see that there's a C on the top, and that shows it brings that second hand over to the top of the dial, and it shows you that it's connected to your phone. If the indicator ends up moving over to the RC section that shows you that it's receiving from the atomic clock actively. And then at the bottom you have the on off for the alarm, and no or yes to confirm if you received the time from the atomic or not. Once again, you can update the time using the atomic clock or syncing it with your smartphone, but it notifies you on if it's synced or not. Alright, so walking you through the modes and the functions of the watch. Standard timekeeping has been pretty basic. You're going to get that day of the week that's going to be on the left side there, and the subdials are going to coincide with either the dual time or the standard time mode with the 24-hour format. Going into the first button, which you're going to press the bottom left to get to the modes, and you're going to get to the stopwatch. And the stopwatch is fairly straightforward. Basically, you want to start it. You're going to notice that the red dial is going to start moving, and the 6 o'clock subdial is what's going to give you your hours and minutes. And if you want to stop it, you press the top right. If you want to reset it, you press the bottom right. Next up is the countdown timer. Both the stopwatch and the countdown are 24-hour, and I love having a timer on an analog watch. You typically don't see that. So the way you're going to set this up is, once again, everything's going to be set off with that 6 o'clock subdial. So you're going to unscrew the crown, and you're going to pull it out one spot, and you're going to see what the current timer is showing. So in this case, it's about 5 minutes. So I can either move it forward or backwards. So if I want to set it up for 15 minutes, I just bring it over to the 15 on the bottom subdial there, and I push it back in, and it's ready to go. So I screw that back in. I can also set this up with the connected smartwatch app as well. So once you press start, what you're going to notice is that the chronograph timer, it's going to go backwards now, and of course it's going to go backwards on that 6 o'clock subdial as well. And then once it's set up, an alarm goes off. And if you want to stop that, you press the start stop button, and then you could reset it on the bottom right, and that zeroes it out. And then the next mode is your alarm mode, and that also gets set up at the 6 o'clock subdial. So once again, you unscrew the crown, you pull it out one notch, and you can go forward or back. And the nice thing is, you move the crown, you feel a few clicks, and then you're going to notice it goes automatically, so you don't have to keep switching the crown around. So in this case, I'm going backwards. Over it a couple of times here, and you see it's going by itself. And then the same deal if I want to move it forward. So if I wanted to set it up for 3:30, for instance, I stop it by going to the reverse. I can go into the 3:30, back it up, and now the alarm will go off at 3:30. This can also be set through the connected application as well. And then it goes into set. So I always make sure that you close the crown so this way the water resistance stays intact. And once you end up going back to the standard timekeeping mode, you're going to notice that the dial over here, it's going to go down to the time of the charge. I'm sorry, the level of the charge. So right now it's going to go over to the high section. And one thing I got confused about, so just to clarify, you're going to see a little red mark that's above the E, which means that the charge is empty. That's just simply in the red zone. That's what you need to concentrate on. I had actually thought that that was the indicator itself until I messed around with the watch a little bit. So what you're going to see here is, I'm pressing to get in regular standard mode, so everything goes back to regular standard, and you'll see the subdial go. It's showing a full charge, and then it goes up to the day of the week. So that's the regular functions of the watch. Alright, so we're going to get into setting the time and the date. Now, one thing you're going to find that it's going to be much easier to do with the atomic timekeeping, or connecting it with the connected application. But I'm going to show you manually, so this way if you just do not have any way that you can connect to something and you need to change the date, it's fairly easy to do. So I'm going to start off with the time zone. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to unscrew the crown. You're going to pull it out 2 spots and you're going to hear a click, a beep, so this way you're confirming. So the time zone, you're going to want to coordinate that with the instruction manual. So right now I'm at the 55 mark or -5, and that's going to signify New York. If you move it forward 1 spot, you'll see that the hour hand will move. Oops, sorry, if I move it back, you'll see the hour hand moves back. If you move it forward, it'll move back in 1 hour increments. So that's going to signify the time zone I'm in. So the correct one is at the 55, that's for the East Coast time. And then you're going to push it back in to confirm. And you're set there. So now to get back into the time setting, you pull it out 2 times. And what you're going to do is you're going to hold on to the C button here, the bottom left. And you're going to hear a beep, and it's going to zero out at the top there, you'll notice. So right off the bat, you're able to change the time by minute. And you'll notice that if you click it a couple of times, it automatically moves for you, so this way you don't have to keep clicking around the entire dial. Now with the minutes, you're going to see that if you're going to move it forward, for instance, the hour hand will move with it. And once you have your minutes set up, so if it's, let's say 3:15 or 4:15, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to press that mode button again and the C button again. You're going to see that the hour hand's going to move, and now you can just specifically change just the hour. And it's the same thing. It moves forward fast for you on a few clicks. Bring it back to that spot. So now the next thing we're going to go do is the day, the date. So you're going to press that again, and you're going to notice that it went to the 5. So each marker that this goes in is 10-year marks. So for instance, from the 12 o'clock to the 5, that's going to signify 2000 to 2010. If you move it forward, that's going to be from 2010 to 2020. So 2020 to 2030. So right now it's 2019. So I'm going to keep it at that 10 mark. And you're going to press the C, and this is going to move to the 9. So that's 2019. So 19. Press it again, and that's going to go to the month, which is 8 for August in this case. You're going to press it again, and now you're set for the month, as the day of the month, sorry. So you'll notice you got to keep winding at it, and once you get to the day that you're looking for, then what happens is the day of the week is automatically set. So you press the C again. And then you're going to notice that it's going to be a mark here for daylight savings. Push it in to confirm everything. And you're good to go. Time is now set. And if you wanted to get a better setting, then of course connect to a smartwatch or the atomic clock, and it'll be 100% for you. So that's the time. Alright, so now I'm going to walk you through the smartphone features that work with this watch. So typically on most G-Shock watches that have the connected application, you're going to get the G-Shock connected. With the Mr. G lineup, they have their own applications for those, which actually offer some more settings and more features and more information on the watch. That's pretty nice. So in this particular case, you're going to look up on Android or iPhone. I'm using the iPhone, of course. You're going to look up the Mr. G connected. And when you find that, you're going to open it up, and you're going to see a nice little animation showing you that you have the Mr. G app, and you're going to see 2 watch models for the Mr. G series. So you're obviously going to push the Mr. G B1000, and it's going to tell you to hold on to the C button for 3.5 seconds until you hear the beep. And once you hear that second beep, you're going to see that the new watch was found. You want to register the watch to the application. You get that confirmation that it's getting connected. Registration was successful. And now we go into the settings. And the guide is going to walk you through all the features of the watch. So when you press the view guide area there, it's going to tell you all the different features. and where they coincide with the buttons and everything on the watch. And going into the status section, it's going to tell you what the charge is on the middle there. You get the world time, and the world time settings I love, okay? So you'll notice on the bottom here, the world time and the home time are the same exact times there. So if I go into the world time, I could set my time zone. So let's say I wanted to check it out for Paris. So I set the city to the watch, and you'll notice on the watch that the settings will coincide back and forth. Get a little map graphic that'll take you over to Paris, France. World time was set. You'll notice at the 6 o'clock dial that it was set up. So now let's say I'm traveling over there. I press the center area where you see the two little arrows here, and I could switch the home time to now be Paris. So you'll see that switch over there. You'll see the graphic on the top of the screen. Once you send the setting to the watch, you're going to notice that the same exact thing happens on the watch. Everything gets set up automatically. You're good to go. And you want to switch everything back. Same deal. You press the two arrows to the left and the right. It'll switch over. World time will stay at Paris. That'll be at the 6 o'clock subdial. Send the setting to the watch. Home time will be set back up to New York in this case, and you'll be good to go. And then you go into the utility section, and you have your alarm that you could set up in here. You could turn it on or off. You'll always see that send setting to the watch at the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to keep it on, and let's say I want to just switch it over to 8:20. Send the setting to the watch. Alarm is now set. Get the confirmation. I'm good to go. I'm going to turn the alarm off so this way it doesn't wake me up. Good to go. So now you go back in here. You can set the countdown timer the same exact way. So if I wanted to just set up an hour-long timer, I did a little thing on the screen there, set it up, send the setting to the watch, and now the timer is set up there. Alright, and then if I go into the setting on the top right and I go into the watch itself, I'm going to see the operations here. So I could set the operation sound, for instance. So I could set the if it beeps whenever I'm doing something with the watch. The phone finder settings, so I could set up the volume, what kind of music is on there. I could set up for time adjustment, or light illumination rather. So if I wanted it for 3 seconds, so that's it. And one little thing that I'll just show you on the guide here, that you have to kind of look for it in the manual. If I go back into the guide, if I'm connected to my watch, if I hold this button for 4 seconds, it's going to set up the phone finder. So if I lose my phone, there you go. And that's it. So that's for the application. Alright, and just to give you an idea what this watch looks like in dark situations or at night, I'm going to turn off the light here, and as you'll see, it's got really good lume, and so this way the hands and around the dial are lit up. And then of course you have the backlight as well, which is rare for an analog, so you'll get the nice LED lighting, and as you can see, it lights up really bright. Alright, and just to give you an idea what it looks like on the wrist, I have 7.5-inch wrists, and as you can see, you put the clasp on, you lock it in place over here, so the sides cannot be pushed open, so it stays nice and secure. And here's what it looks like on the wrist. Not ridiculously large by any stretch. Not too thick. And I want to thank you all for watching this review. I appreciate all the support, and of course I want to thank Topper Jewelers once again for supplying the watches for review. For more watches like this, there are discounts available while supplies last. Definitely suggest go to www.topperjewelers.com. I definitely appreciate if you could like and follow my reviews. Click the bell for notifications for future reviews, and I'm also on Twitter, and that's at DougFNJ. So if you visit me there, every time I put a review out, I do, of course, go onto Twitter and advertise it through there. And if you want some really good watch discussion on Casio G-Shocks or any number of different brands or types of watches, check out www.watchuseek.com. Another great website. It gives you great discussion. There's a great sales forum there. Awesome people. It's a great community. So once again, thank you very much for watching my review. And until next time, have a great day.